5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Delighted now to be joined by the winning trainer from that race, Mick Winters, one of the real characters of Irish racing. Just get down with me, goodbye. That was some performance now. Were you expecting that kind of a run? I saw him running that day. Hey, tell us a bit about the owners, Mick.
Just get down to get much less. We down there to gallop down the ring that we got tea and 7 I think we got
sure, I know. Yes, sure, one of them living up near me, actually, yeah. Tell us where do you go next?
Oh, jeez, I knew I didn't race now, blood glaring at that, and then we might run on the flat, but
yeah, top class, Nick. Never want to miss an opportunity, by.
Go back down to the land, and down with the big few cows, then go back and so cheap, yeah.
Thanks for your time, Mick.
Folks, and welcome back to series 2 of the Irish Racing Hour. I'm on my own there today, but we have a very, very special guest, TikTok famous and very well known now at this stage, Brian Arnold. Welcome on board.
Hi Shane, thanks for having me.
Brian, just before we get into things, for those who wouldn't know you or what you do or anything like that, like just give a brief background introduction on yourself.
Well, I'd say the vast majority of people in Irish racing probably didn't know me up till maybe about 6 weeks ago when I started taking the mick out of them all. But so I work for a company called Iris, Shane, and we're the broadcast providers for all the racing in Ireland across all the 26 tracks. So my job is I'm traveling around all around the country 6-7 days of the week in the summer and 3-4 days a week in the winter. So we're at the tracks for SIS and Racing TV and RTE and ITV and whoever wants the footage, and we're the people on the ground with the cameras, the microphones, the speakers, and whatever else is needed to provide the feeds and the outgoing footage of racing in Ireland to all our partners.
Yeah, and your role in that situation then is inside
for the most part. Now I'm not sure if I should be saying this, but I'm generally responsible for the cutting of the cameras in the truck. So as you're watching the race at home and you see one camera angle switch from one to the other, that's my role in the truck most days, to talk to the cameraman, to go zoom in, zoom out, up, down, left, right, and then make those switches between cameras. And other days I'm doing the announcing, and some days I do engineering, or some days I'm doing camera. But for the most part, I'm in the truck doing the directing, is what we call it.
Yeah, I suppose then, especially like with the way the weather has been, I'd say it's a bit of a nightmare to be stuck in the truck then on such a hot day.
Did you know what? on a hot day, the truck is actually a grand place to be, because our trucks are all relatively new, and we have kind of the best of everything in terms of equipment. So they have the best of air conditioning inside there today. So if you were out racing this week and it's 24, 25 degrees, if you come in and sit down next to me in the truck, it's probably a nice and cool 16 or 17 in the truck, and there's no breaking sweat when you're inside the truck anyway.
I should look at sure you have the best of both worlds. So
yeah.
I suppose, Brian, with all your experience going to different tracks and going to different meetings, I suppose you've more than likely covered some big meetings as well and some big races as well. Is there any particular occasion that's the most memorable for you on the track?
Now, I'll start with a bad one. Is that right?
Okay, right, go on.
We get to the better stuff. So one that has stuck with me I can't remember the date, but I was always a huge. Two of my favorite jumps horses were obviously naturally two of Willie's, but Undeso was owned by the Connells from Cork. Glanmire wouldn't be far from our base in Bartlemy, just outside Fermoy.
Yeah.
And Duvan were always two of my favorites. Especially Duvan, I was a huge fan of his. But the day Undeso won, he ran in Turles and he fell at the fence across the top.
Oh yeah.
I was directing that day.
Okay.
You know how he went. He got up in front and he was gone.
Yeah.
So the day in Turles, he gave an exhibition. He was 15 lengths jumping I think that the fence across. Oh, it used to be the third last. It's now the second last in Turles.
Oh yeah, up the far side, up the corner.
Yeah. Up the highest point of the track. So they jumped the fourth last, which is just after they come up the hill, and they jumped two across the top. So he jumps the first one. He's tanking his way to the third last. We'll say the second one in that little straight.
Yeah.
So I'm shouting at the cameraman, zoom in. We need to get under. So here we go. So the chasing group are jumping the fourth last. So I cut to them jumping that because you have to show anyone who's had a bet without him, you want to know, I want my horse to finish second.
Yeah.
So they're jumping. He then at the same time is jumping the third last, which is now the second last. And didn't he fall? Yeah. And no one saw it. It was that. So that's my worst, right? Oh Jesus, in terms of the best, like probably for like gut feeling, like the strange thing about going racing every day, but being in the truck, is you're a little bit disconnected from the people. But the day Faheen won the Grade 1 in Limerick, you could just feel it in the air around there. Like, and I know, like Leopardstown and Punchestown and Fairyhouse get the big crowds on the big days, but geez, that day in Limerick, I never saw scenes like it, and you really felt like, Jesus, this was it was historic. Like, and I know, definitely. He left Sam Crow for dust, but I never saw people running. I mean, running. Like, so where the truck is in Limerick is close to the bookies ring. So the bookies ring's at the side of the stand. So like I could look out the window and you see just everyone, man, woman and child, running from the front of the stand through the bookies ring down the side to get a spot in the parade ring. And they were 10 deep the whole way around. And that probably of the recent ones, that one was very special. And a job I usually do in Punchestown for the festival is I work for the team on the track doing some of their CCTV production and that kind of thing. Yeah. So like this year we were doing, a lot of stuff for their Facebook and their social media. But when, oh Jesus, his name has gone from me now. Bulger's horse that did the festival treble, JP's colours, the cross country. Oh, this is embarrassing now.
Overnyat or Josie's Orders?
Oh, was it? He did. He won. Didn't he? He won in Cheltenham Entry, Punchestown. No. I'm like yourself. Anyway, Nina rode it, and I was in the parade ring. Oh, gee, anyway.
It could have been Josie's Orders,
I think it might have been, yeah.
Yeah, I have a
did
funny
the treble
feeling.
Anyway, and I was in the parade. I was lucky enough to be in the parade ring.
Yeah.
For that, and that was very special as well. So there. Oh jeez, this is embarrassing. No, for both of us. We don't have to name them.
Oh,
but, it's rare that I get to be out, in the middle of it, and being in the parade ring, like Punchestown for the festival, being in the parade ring, is very special to be, even allowed in there. Like the reception there, and some of the interviews and the pub, the real racing people are there for the festival. That was one of the special ones.
Yeah.
Definitely. So we're going to have to edit this, right, and put in me saying the name right. Okay. Oh Jesus! You're right, Josie's Orders.
Well, no.
Go on.
I'm nearly sure it was Josie's Orders.
I think you're right. It's just for some reason in my head it's not clicking, but you're probably right.
Oh, stuff. But yeah, look at just going back to that day in Limerick as well. I remember that day. Oh,
were you there? You were?
No, I wasn't, but I was looking at it there. I was looking at it on the telly. The Lord God,
you could see, yeah.
You had barely room to turn a sweet in your mouth, like it was.
Yeah. It was, And that's great for, you know, like that's great for the tracks like Limerick to get that, you know, that race. That's a cracking race every year. Like it's great.
Yeah, definitely. But I suppose for those who are watching, the main reason why you'd be watching the TikToks, Brian.
Right.
In the name of God, they just start coming up with or where did the inspiration come from?
Like, so, like I was always like I've had Twitter for years and Instagram, and like I'd use like Snapchat would be my big thing at work to be, you know, sending like, you know, all the jockeys are on it, and you know, all my friends are on it. I'd be always messing around on it and doing stuff. And I was in Punchestown. I don't know, was it the last meeting? Not the one after the festival there. Whenever it was, so it's only about 2 months ago. And it was one of the days I wasn't in the truck. So I was out on the parade ring camera. And the beauty of like, well, the beauty, I suppose, of being on the parade ring camera in Punchestown is you actually have the freedom to walk out and watch the race, which as I'm in the truck, 190 days out of however many days I go racing in the year, I always take that opportunity to walk out to the track and, you know, see them up close, because I was going racing for years, and I was never at the start of a race. And like, you know, to be getting up close, you know, you love that, like, and you can see, you know, the difference in a horse, me looking at on a camera and being out there. So I went out anyway, and I went out, walked across the track, and I recorded the horses jumping the last hurdle, going around in, I think it was just like the second division of some handicap hurdle. Recorded them doing that, and there was a ladies race later that day, and I recorded them going across the road, crossing past the winning post. And I put them on Instagram, and I was like, Jesus, you know what now? Everyone in the truck and all the younger gang at work, they all have TikTok, and you know, did you see scrolling? You know, you're hearing the same songs coming up on everyone else's phone all the time, and you're like, so you'd get, and I had the app, but Jesus, you wouldn't use it only once a month, and then, you know, because most of it is nonsense on it, like, which, you know, similar to where we're at now. But so I just went in and I just put the two little videos together and clicked a few buttons, and it just kind of made something out of nothing for me. Like, that's right, just post it, see what happens. I had that many followers, 0 on day one, right? But I see like immediately, like, you know, people are liking it, and you look at the people liking it, and it's a lot of it, like, I find is like the stable staff and people who ride out work. If you look, they all use it and they all upload, you know, the horse has been fed and watered and brushed out, and like, you know, the people in racing who work in yards are they're probably a bit mad to be doing it, but they all seem to use it, and you know, a lot of people are very popular on it. Like, started with that, and I think the second one was, I filmed myself directing a race inside in the truck, like, and again, like, just put in the video, and you know, it does all the little filters and put a song on it, and I see people, and one of the jockeys rode in the race going, oh geez, I was riding in that race. And I was like, geez, these are actually, there's a connection here between what I'm doing and the people. So, and I just see, you know, again, the same gang of people are liking it, and you see a few jockeys liking it. So did a couple more, and then, like, for some reason the thought struck me below and Listowel to make something funny. Like, so I did like the funny, it's you know, it's kind of cringe, like the health screening one. You know, like the one that made you famous, I suppose is what you say. And like, geez, that got a huge reaction. And I'm like, how did you see that? Like, and they go, oh, someone sent it to me on WhatsApp. Like, it was already. So it's not just like on TikTok. So I don't know, I had this idea. Did you see the one, you know, Willie has one in it? So that's, since I've done any video I've done, the one of Willie has one in it is still the most popular one. I don't know why. I think it was just because it was short and it had, you know, the catchiness, and you know, it's, you know, all respect to the man and the yard, but it's kind of a reality is that you're hoping to get into a race. Jesus, Willie has one in it. You know, some French bread joke that no one's ever heard of, and he's 2 to 7, and you're going, jeez, why do I bother? So that got huge, and I must give a shout to the lads in Boyle Sports. they actually put it up on their Instagram, and they gave me a credit and all that, and that got me a lot of followers. So I started putting them on Twitter then, because like, geez, I only had a few followers on Twitter from, you know, the usual gangs, like, but like all the trainers, the owners, and the jockeys are all on Twitter. So that's people would be, you know, any of my friends who follow me on all of them are probably giving out, going, Jesus, I saw that on his Snapchat, I saw it on his Twitter. But I'm like, you know, there's a different audience on all those apps.
Yeah.
But there's a huge, you know, there's a huge racing audience on Twitter. So I posted them all there, and they just got huge numbers. Like, I couldn't have imagined it. Like literally, I think I tweeted a link to the one I did in Punchestown, and it got about 2 likes on Twitter. And then by the time I put up the Willie Mullins one, it got like 50,000 views, which I was like, you know, blown away. I had like no idea how could that have happened. Like, I knew the numbers didn't add up. Like, and then you hear people going, did you see? And you hear people talking about it like on racing, or you hear it when you're walking past someone and they're watching it on their phone.
Yeah.
And I go, Jesus, all right. So people like the stuff. So try to keep going with the funny ones, and like, you know yourself, like the characters and the people that are in racing.
Yeah.
That, like, unfortunately, like the way it is with television is the interviews are generally, you know, fairly straight laced about the horse, but like you some of the interviews you've even done yourself, like you see when people are a little bit, you know, out of their comfort zone, so to speak, they just open up and there's a bit of crack. And people in racing love the crack, like, you know.
Like, once people are given a bit of lead or a bit of leeway to say whatever they want, like, that's when you see the true characters in them, like. But
and then like, so, and honestly now, like, people go, how do you think of these, like? And we do a lot of driving with the trucks and the vans to get to the races, and that's where I do it. If I'm in the van on my own, I'll spend the 2 or 3 hours talking to myself, and I'll get there, and then I'll record. Like, I'll literally record it with the microphone, me having a conversation with myself somewhere in a race course, and then and then I'll go and I'll get a back protector of someone and a helmet of someone else and a stick of someone else and make the videos. And I have to say, like, credit to, like, the jockeys are all like, you know, you saw like some of the videos that were very popular early were like, you know, the funny excuses. I didn't make up any of them. I did. They're all, like, I won't name names, right? But they're all. I asked the trainers, what's the SHIT that they tell you, and I asked the jockeys, well, what's the heap of SHIT that they tell you before the race, and them ones proved very popular. So I think I'll probably bring those characters back again at some time, because, Jesus, you know yourself, there's a million excuses for not winning. There's only very few excuses for when you do it.
There's a man, I'm not going to name his name now, but he says training horses is an hour's pain for a minute's glory, and I think that's definitely much hardship, like, between
there is, and like you said there, those little lines, like, you know, you hear them every day you're going racing, and you know, people are so funny, and I like, obviously, like the one last week or the week before with Mick Winters, like, someone actually tweeted at me about a month ago when I don't know what video I did, and they're like, oh, I can't wait for the Mick Winters episode. And I was like, oh, Jesus, that's actually brilliant. Like, now, I'm from Cork, but I'm from North Cork, but I'm not from the same North Cork as Mick Winters. That's after getting a great reaction as well.
The one mistake you made with that is you didn't go for rolling around in the grass.
It's hard to do that when you're filming yourself all the time, you know, because that's the thing. I'm out there with my phone talking to myself all day in front of a stand at a race course or down at the last fence or something like that. I did hire John Cullen, the former jockey, works for us in Iris. He does camera work with us. And John helped me. He filmed the Pat Healy video for me. Actually, down in the parade ring in Gore. And that one was another massive one. And like, it's funny, like with that one, right? I went into the barbers. My barbers, I live just outside the town of Fermoy. And I went into the barbers. And obviously I know like the gang that worked there, and they, you know, be friends on social media and that. They're like, Jesus, that video yesterday was very funny with the photographer. And I'm like, how do you know Pat Healy? Like, and they're like, what? And I was like, yeah, he's Pat from Listowel.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, right. And like they found it funny without having any, context or knowing anyone. So it's not just the racing people that like them. Like I think the people that the general public like them as well, because it's kind of, it's not, you're not letting them look under the hood, but it's kind of, you hear the stuff they don't hear on TV, kind of, the kind of funny one-liners and stuff. Yeah, so
definitely. But there's one point that you didn't actually cover in terms of your TikTok career.
Not yet, anyway.
And it's the reason why I actually started looking at your videos being mentioned in the Irish Field only a couple of weeks.
I know, yeah, that was kind of crazy. Like,
like that.
That was.
I think that was after that one.
It was because Pat. In fairness to the lads, they do all the photos for the Irish Field, so I think they saw the link there.
Yeah,
and I got the call, and like I was like, why did they want to talk to me? Because even like obviously with any of that, like my following on TikTok went from 0 up. I don't know what it's at now. It might be a couple of thousand. Like, and on Twitter probably gained like 2,500 followers because of it. Like, so like even from now till then, like it's been kind of, I don't know, it's been a bit crazy. Like it's hard to get my head around it. Like, but here, look, what the big thing is, it's a bit of crack, and I do them kind of like we usually have a bit of a break when we get set up with all the cameras in the truck, and we'd have a bit of a break for our lunch. So I'll take a wander out onto the track then and try and film them kind of before racing, and hopefully you don't get seen by too many people, by everyone. The biggest issue, actually, the only downside so far is everywhere I go is, John, how are you, John? John, since the Pat Healy one, everyone seems to have seen that, and it's John. Someone actually in Limerick there last week went, are you TikTok? That's what not are you the fella? No, are you TikTok? And I says, yeah, I prefer Brian now. And she just walked away. I was like,
oh, stop. Oh, geez, that's a gas one now, all right. But say for the videos coming up, are you able to give us a bit of a teaser what you have planned next?
I'll be perfectly honest with you now. Like, so the beauty of like the TikTok stuff is, you can record them and have them done ahead of time. And I'm after kind of catching up a bit on myself, because I was actually on holidays all last week. I was away with my family. Like I have a wife and I've 3 young boys. So the rule in the house is there's no TikToking at home. so I'll be racing now a couple of days this week. So I'll try and build up again. But I've had it's great, like, because the people in racing give you the stories and they give you the ideas, like, I can't name names because then people, that person will get hung out by someone else. And like, I think the beauty of my position is obviously I get to go, I'm like privileged to get to go racing every day, but like I kind of an anonymous person at the end of the day. I'm not tied to any owners or trainers or that kind of thing, but have access to all the people, and everyone wants to just say that in the video and that kind of a thing. So that's great. Like, and the more even like people on TikTok and Twitter, like, will suggest things, and like you'd be surprised. Like, as I said, someone suggested the Mick Winters one, and a month later it's a reality. So anyone that's watching, like, if they put in the comment section of this or send me a tweet, and like, Jesus, it could spark something, because I did film. I've one recorded now, all right, and it's one of the jockeys gave me the complete idea for it. Yeah, and hopefully I'll try and if I can tidy it all up, get it out sometime this week, maybe tomorrow. It depends how long you keep me here.
Oh, sure, okay, sure. Won't keep you for too much longer now, anyway.
You're fine.
But just I want to do a bit of a quick fire questions and answers with you. Now, this will be focusing on your jockey colleagues now and your jockey friends.
My racing, that's as you saw the video last week. Any tips? That my racing knowledge, because it's kind of in one ear out the other when you go racing, because as I said, they do upwards of 200 days a year at it. So and that's the thing, is like, you're racing every day, you must know all the winners, and you'd be surprised how little I know. I know how to press the buttons. Yeah, go on, go for it.
But anyway, which jockey is the biggest character?
Of late, Chris Hayes is great crack. He's given me a few bits for a few of the videos, and he was in one of the. He's the only person to feature in one of the videos so far. Yeah. First official cameo.
Yeah, have to agree with you there. I think Chris Hayes is great old crack now. In fairness, best dressed.
Oh, Brian Cooper.
Brian Cooper.
Yeah, always carries himself. Always a good nice pair of glasses and the hair done. Yeah.
Okay. Drives the best car.
Oh, Emmett McNamara. Smashing BMW. I was in Killarney last week and Emmett tried to get into an Audi going in through the hill screen. And I was like, fairly sure that's not your car. yeah. He's a lovely BMW. Paul Townend's a close second. He is a smashing car as well.
Yeah. Most underrated.
Oh,
I know there's an awful lot you can think of off the top of your head.
I know, and it's like, who do I want to insult or who do I not? As Connor Maxwell.
Okay, yeah, no, fair point. The party man, who's always up for a bit of crack.
Oh. Well, I don't do too much socializing with him because I'm always working. Who will I say? James Hannon, a good point-to-point man, where I got my start.
Okay. And who's the biggest sore loser?
Cranky, like the crankiest, I suppose. Is, oh, jeez, I don't know. I'd say Connor Maxwell as well, yeah. No, look. I have to say, like they're all a good bunch of lads. Obviously you can catch some of them at the wrong time, but in fairness, they're all good crack most of the time, innit? Yeah.
No, 100% there. I can't agree with you more. Just, I suppose you touched on the fact, like your family, like your wife and 3 boys. Would you ever say encourage the 3 lads to maybe get a job in racing down the line?
I would, because like you saw, like one of the more popular videos I did was what's it like to work in racing.
Yeah.
Which got a massive response. Like, I mean, loads of people like from all over the world saw it and sent messages and stuff, like, and they're all like, yeah, this is it. And it's kind of the reality for everyone that works in racing, the long hours and the bad diet and that kind of a thing. And like, as I said, there is drawbacks, but like there's so much upside to it. Like it's like when I started, I was selling tapes at the Point of Pints was my first job, and I still do that every winter on the Cork Waterford circuit. We still go out every Sunday with a camera and the speakers to do all our local meetings. Yeah. And like, even just from doing them and the grassroots side of it, and then you get to go racing and you're rubbing shoulders and like, like Davy Russell sending ideas for the videos. It's it's such a lovely industry to work in, and the people are so good, and everyone is striving for the same thing. The big man, the small man, and everyone loves it. And yeah, you couldn't not encourage them. Obviously, like my family's from a farming background, so yeah. If they wanted to go that round, that's just as much hardship as working in horse racing.
So Jesus, I know that all too well now.
if early indicators are starting to go by, like if horse racing is on the television, they're like, no, I'm not watching this. So I'm not sure. Maybe if I now that we're allowed to bring a few people back, I might bring them racing a couple of days. And I think when they get there and they see it, Jesus, they'd fall in love with it very quick.
It's the drug now, in fairness.
Oh, yeah.
Say a message for those who might want to get into racing. What way would you go about it?
Well, like say, like obviously our side of it, like there's loads of work there. Like we're out there. We have a crew based in Cork and a crew based in Dublin, and we're all on the go all year round. Like the thing is, like, I know, just ask. Come. Like, we've had a lot of people who just come racing just for a look, for the behind, to see, because without trying to sound smart, people really don't have an idea of what goes on, like how the whole thing is made. And like, Irish racing is at the forefront of technology. Like, you see the equipment that we're bringing online every so often, between the drones and the tracking cameras and stuff, and like we have young, new, enthusiastic people starting with us all the time, and that's the thing is right. If people show interest and really want it, there's opportunities there.
Yeah, definitely. One of the last questions, Brian. You've been to, I presume, every track in Ireland more than once now.
The only track there's 2 tracks I've only been to once. So like when I started in racing, we were only doing a certain amount of tracks, but when Iris became Iris, we started covering all 26, and I've only been to Laytown once, and I've only been to Bellewstown for the festival once.
Okay.
So Bellewstown probably counts as more than once because I was there for the festival. Yeah.
Okay. So what's your favorite track to go to? What's the one where you see on the calendar?
Ballinrobe. You don't have to. Ballinrobe. Yeah. It's one of the furthest from me. Like, it's a 3-hour drive in the van. It's a 4.5-hour drive in the truck. But always loved going there since we started traveling the country doing all the tracks. And John and all the people there are so nice, and the place is kept like. I couldn't, when I got there the first time, like I couldn't believe that this is something else. It's everything is new, like, and everything is kept smashing, and the track itself is beautiful with the walls and the fort. Yeah, so that's my automatic, and I know there'll be people watching now, and they'll get very offended, especially. I won't name names. But I'll just say Punchestown's a close second, right?
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
Fair enough.
People listening will know, and
yeah. No, in fairness, now I have to say, like, Ballinrobe, like, it is a lovely track, and it's not too hard to get to and all that. Like, but
it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. Like, and there's summer meetings there, and the sun is shining, and touch wood when there's a big crowd back in there. Like, I really enjoy going up there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Brian, last question. Your social media links. How can people find you?
So my Twitter and my TikTok, sorry, it can be confusing. My Twitter and my TikTok are both at Hey Arnold B. So that came from the cartoon when I was growing up, was Hey Arnold. But someone has the Hey Arnold, so I just put a B at the end. So it's at Hey Arnold B. Yeah. And what else am I on? I'm on Instagram. I think it's Brian_Arnold _86. Because I couldn't get Hey Arnold B on Instagram because someone else has it on Instagram. And I think, what else? I'm on Facebook, but I don't use Facebook. Yeah. So you won't see any TikTok videos on my Facebook. I don't know what is. I'm on Snapchat, all right, and it's my old school nickname. It's the Brains. Is my it's my Snapchat. Yeah. But anyway, you don't have to ask anything about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fair enough. But look, that's all we have time for there now today. I want to say a big thanks to Brian for taking time out of his busy schedule to come on. For those who are new to the podcast, basically what it is, we go around to different professions in the industry, say jockeys, owners, trainers. We have plans on getting, say, the likes of stable staff. Well, we have had stable staff on before in the past, but we're going to get more stable staff on. We're going to get the likes of farriers, dentists, different, like any job you can think of in the industry, we're going to try and get it. Simple reason is these people don't get half the amount of credit than what they deserve. So we're basically doing a podcast to be a little bit unorthodox and be a little bit outside the box and do something a little bit different. Now, funding for that, if you're very, very kind to, I suppose, go down the funding route, we have a Patreon account there. It's €10 a month. Basically what it is, myself and Ryan, we do daily tips. Everything is over 3-1. So when we do get a winner, it's worth winning. We do monthly giveaways as well. Say a couple of examples. We've given away three shares in horses valued for a year. Giving away plenty of race and merchandise cash giveaways for the Cheltenham Festival. We did a €200 pot for a tipping competition. So what you put in, you get back. It's just basically to help us keep going and keep, I suppose, getting the likes of Brian or say different jockeys, trainers, owners, stable staff, any outsider jobs, say, that people wouldn't necessarily think would be involved in racing in, and get their voices heard, basically. It's been a great interview, Brian, and it's great to catch up, and hopefully now, say, like you said, when things start opening up again, we'll see each other plenty more occasions and all that. But
yeah, and definitely, Shane, like as I said, when we get back to normal, and obviously we have very strict measures in place, with in the trucks and that, to keep everyone safe between screens and face coverings and that. But hopefully, maybe next summer we'll get you in. You can come into the truck and we'll do a proper behind the scenes look to see. Look, well, I might even let you sit in my chair for a race. That'd be all right. Special prize. Sure.
I tell you something, I wouldn't say no to that now, Brian. I wouldn't say no to that.
When we get, look, it's all taking a bit of time, but we'll definitely do something maybe next summer or something, and give people a proper looking behind the little white trucks.
Yeah, well, sure, you can't ask for much fairer than that. Anyway, Brian, thanks very much for coming on. Please make sure those of you who are looking in for the first time to like, share, and subscribe. Get this man's name out there and get him more followers on TikTok and Twitter and whatever.
Send me ideas, yeah. Send me ideas. And equipment and all.
Yeah, and as well as that, look, the podcast.
Send me a horse.
But as well as that, like, for those who say would have a business or whatever like that, we are always looking for sponsorship. If people are looking to sponsor the podcast, and I suppose get your names mentioned more often than, I suppose, in our podcast and all that, just send either myself or Ryan a message on Facebook or Twitter or whatever you can find it on. I'm the Peaky Blogger. Ryan is part of Racing Records. And overall, just keep, I suppose, doing what you're doing and keep liking, sharing, and subscribing. The more, the merrier now at this stage, and the more we get involved, the more this takes off. And hopefully someday we'll be the leading racing podcast on YouTube. But anyway, that's all we have time for. And like I already said, please make sure to keep liking, sharing, and subscribing. Brian, thanks very much for coming on. And we'll see you all next week.
You will. See you, Shane. Good luck.